So hi, hello and welcome again, Microbehunter here, I'm Oliver, and today I want to talk about the intermediate optics of microscope cameras. I need to explain this, what even are the intermediate optics. When you have a microscope camera like this one over here, then there is over here, this is called the intermediate optics, and there are some lens elements here which adjust the size of the image for the camera. And those intermediate optics have a different magnification. And I would like to talk about this magnification because the magnification can be quite different. Over here I've got a DSLR camera adapter from the company Olympus. So that's one that's not manufactured anymore. It's a huge, as you can see, device, but so is the camera. And it too has some optics over here that can be inserted into the microscope. But the magnification is quite a bit different, and I will explain to you why this is the case. Now let's take this one here out first. I already loosened it, everything. It's also known as the photo projection eyepiece. And when you take it out, then you're going to see that there is a magnification of 2.5. Right, it's 2.5, and this is also as known as so-called a compensating photo projection ocular. It's a long word. This basically means that all of the lens areas of the microscope objective are compensated and corrected, and it also enlarges it, makes it larger by 2.5 times. Now let's have a look at the intermediate optics of one of those significantly smaller microscope cameras here, and it's a long number over here, but there's very tiny 0.5 written on here. So it actually does not make the image larger but smaller. And it reduces the image. Sometimes, therefore, these optics also known as reduction optics. I've got another one over here which I bought separately. It also has a magnification of, here it says 0.5 times. Might be a little bit counterintuitive. Why would you actually include the intermediate optics that make the image smaller? Isn't a microscope supposed to make it bigger? That's really the question. Well, actually, this magnification serves a different purpose. That's what I would like to explain. And in order to understand this, let's take away the intermediate optics of this camera here, and let's have a look at the size of the sensor. So let's remember, this optic over here makes the image smaller, but notice that also the camera sensor in here, that's the little rectangle that you see here, is smaller than this diameter over here. So if you want to fit the complete microscope image on the sensor, what has to happen is the microscope image comes from over here, right? This is the objective, projects it in here, and then over here, the image has to be actually made smaller so that it fits on the smaller sensor. If you don't do that, then what you'll have is you'll have a lot of so-called empty magnification. The image is going to be larger, it's going to be much more blurry, and it's also going to be darker. That's not what you want. So the image quality suffers. So in order to get a better image quality, you actually have to make the image smaller so that it's able to fit on the sensor here. And hence, therefore, a reduction with 0.5 times. Now, what about the DSLR camera over here? Okay, I've already taken out the optics over here 2.5 times. Now let's look at the size of the sensor in here. Well, actually we won't be able to see the sensor because the mirror covers it. I just want to show this to you. Let's see the sensor over here is hidden behind the mirror, but it doesn't matter. You can already see it's significantly larger. It's significantly larger than the diameter of the barrel over here. Right? And this basically means that if you want to fit the image now from the microscope on the sensor, you have to actually make it larger. It has to spread apart. If you don't do that, then you are not going to fill the full sensor, and you're just going to have an image in the center of the picture, and then everything else is going to be dark. You don't want that either. So if you want to have a full, if the picture is supposed to fill the frame completely and the sensor completely, you have to actually make it larger. A little bit of side information over here. This photo projection eyepiece with a 2.5 times actually was made for so-called full format cameras, or back in the analog days, 36mm film. And this was actually also significantly larger than this one over here. So if I use this eyepiece here with this camera, it does work. I do get a little bit of empty magnification. It magnifies more than necessary, but it still works. right? But I think the important point is that those intermediate optics, the magnification must be adjusted, or should be adjusted to the size of the sensor. That's basically how you select it, and how you have to match this optic magnification with the size of the sensor. Now, for all practical purposes, it really doesn't matter, because when you buy a microscope camera like this, it will already come with the correct intermediate optics attached. Now, if you think that this adapter here is huge, heavy and bulky, then you are right, but there is good news. This one over here is also a DSLR adapter, and of course significantly smaller. And let's have a look at its magnification. Well, what does it say? Not 2.5, but 2. And indeed, this adapter is manufactured for DSLR cameras with a smaller sensor than full format. And it's significantly less bulky, but I do have to tell you that the image quality is not quite as good as this one over here. But that is something that you can only find out by trial and error. There is, however, also another important reason why you have those intermediate optics, and this is referred to as Parfocality. And this basically means that when the optics are properly adjusted and you insert the camera into the photo tube of the microscope, then when the eyepieces are in focus, then also the camera is mostly in focus. This is Parfocality, and this is also something that those intermediate intermediate optics have to fulfill. So you see, it's all a little bit, they're all multiple purposes that these little devices, optical devices, actually serve. But I hope I was able to give you a little bit of an overview of why they basically exist and how they actually do that, what they're supposed to do. Connecting cameras to a microscope is a little bit of a science sometimes, because there are so many parameters and variables. And for example, if I were to take this one here out, and I've tried these things already, and if I insert another one here, even though it has the same magnification, then sometimes I'm not getting a sharp image, and so there is a little bit of trial and error also involved, and I think that those parts are not quite always as standardized as I hope them to be. So there is a little bit of experimentation still necessary. In any case, I hope that you found this video interesting. I would like to invite you to like and to subscribe. There is somewhere a thumbs up button here on screen. This way you can also, of course, support not only the channel, but also hobby microscopy as such, because if there are many likes, then of course YouTube will also promote this video more. And of course, if you want to share your experiences, there is also a comments section below. From my side, that's all I would like to share with you today. I hope you found the video interesting. Happy microbe hunting as always, and hope to see you again in the next video. Bye bye.